on Northern Ireland, the Good Friday Agreement, Baroness Ritchie of Downpatrick.
Lords, I beg leave to ask the question standing on my name on the order paper for which I have given private notice.
Viscount Younger.
My Lords, the UK Government takes its responsibilities to protect the provisions of the Belfast Good Friday Agreement extremely seriously. The Northern Ireland Executive is united in its condemnation of recent unrest. The Government will continue to work alongside the Executive to support a peaceful, prosperous Northern Ireland. The Secretary of State for Northern Ireland has met political, community and faith leaders to call for calm, and the Government will continue facilitating further constructive discussions over the coming days.
Baroness Ritchie.
Mindful of the fact that all the church leaders on the island of Ireland have issued a statement urging political unity, what immediate action will be taken by the British and Irish governments acting jointly as co-guarantors of the Good Friday Agreement, working and talking with the political parties in Northern Ireland to hold an immediate meeting of the British-Irish Intergovernmental Conference to address the need for renewed political stability, an end to street violence and tension, and a strategy to end poverty and marginalisation, and in so doing, adhere to the key principles of the Good Friday Agreement, those of peace and reconciliation.
Yes, just to answer the Noble Baroness's question, the immediate priority, as she will respect, is to provide the Executive and the PSNI with the support needed to manage the current unrest. However, we continue to consider a range of options to support their efforts in the medium term, and that includes the British-Irish Intergovernmental Conference, the BIGC, which the Noble Baroness referred to, which is an important element of Strand 3 of the Belfast Good Friday Agreement, and it stands to promote bilateral cooperation at all levels and all matters of mutual interest.
Lord Kane.
My Lords, does my noble friend agree that the recent disgraceful, totally unjustified and counterproductive violence in Northern Ireland has a number of different causes, many of them going back many years, and to suggest that this is solely about Brexit is willfully ignorant of the situation in Northern Ireland. Is it not the case that this government remains wholly committed to upholding all strands of the Belfast Agreement? And in addition to a robust criminal justice response, what the Executive urgently needs to do is to focus on those policies designed to build a genuinely shared future for all the people of Northern Ireland.
Well, my noble friend makes some sensible points, and the reasons he is right for the unrest are complex and multifarious, some to do with localised issues. What I can say, which the House will know, is that the 10th of April of this year marks 23 years since the Belfast Good Friday Agreement was signed, an achievement of which the UK, Ireland and the US are justifiably proud, which led to transformative change. So today it falls to the people of Northern Ireland to decide what sort of society they want, and it is clear they are choosing the right path, which is to build an inclusive, prosperous and hopeful society that builds on the hard-won peace.
Baroness Goody.
I support my noble friend, Baroness Ritchie, on what she has said. Shouldn't the government today decide to pledge itself to calling and meeting urgently of the parties involved 23 years ago, the British government, the Irish government and the United States, including perhaps the EU, and maybe bring in other moderators to help to put the deal together? We cannot now, 23 years on, go on like this. We need to take the next steps to implement parts of the Good Friday Agreement that have not been implemented, and to ensure that the people of Northern Ireland have a decent and peaceful life and children can be educated.
Yes, well, just to reassure the noble Baroness and to go further than I said before, there is much work going on. So the Northern Ireland Secretary is in contact with Northern Ireland's party leaders. The collective priority at present is to work together to ensure public safety. And the noble Baroness will know that the Northern Ireland Executive issued a joint statement on the 8th of April, which is a very welcome sign of solidarity against the despicable violence, and declared their support for law and order and policing. But I can assure the noble Baroness that nothing is off the table, and they are doing their very best to resolve the current unrest.
Baroness Sutty.
My Lords, I also strongly condemn the recent criminal violence. 23 years on from the signing of the Good Friday Belfast Agreement, sadly, segregation, division and poverty are still far too much a part of society in Northern Ireland. Does the Minister regard it as acceptable that only 7% of young people in Northern Ireland are in integrated education? And will he undertake to work closely with the Northern Ireland Executive as a matter of urgency to promote measures to overcome these divisions in the education sector?
Well, the noble Baroness makes a very important and specific point about education, and can I just say how appalling it is that the reports are of teenagers coming onto the streets when in fact they should be going back to school, the schools have opened, and indeed going back home. And I think that I would like to applaud the achievements of the community leaders who are working extremely hard in the various parts of Northern Ireland where there has been unrest to encourage these pupils to go home and to stop adults encouraging them.
The next speaker is Lord MP.
Can I join others in saying how deeply disappointing it is that 23 years later we are witnessing unjustifiable violence in the streets. However, Her Majesty's government does have responsibilities with regard to the agreement, and I would contend that in fact it has itself, by its own example, broken the agreement by changing the economic status of Northern Ireland without either consultation or consent contained in the terms of the protocol. Will my noble friend encourage his right honourable friend in the other place to hold all party discussions, because without trying to do deals behind closed doors with a limited number of parties has not worked in the past, and the same mistakes are being repeated time and time again.
Indeed, I listen to the experience and knowledge that the noble Lord has, and the Belfast Agreement, as he will know, provided a foundation for growth and a framework for peace. And can I reassure the noble Lord that my right honourable friend in the other place, Brandon Lewis, has been working extremely hard and has met the five parties and other community leaders to help the Northern Ireland Executive to resolve these matters.
The next speaker is Lord Kilclooney.
My Lords, having been involved very much in the negotiations leading to the Belfast Agreement, can the noble Minister confirm that the agreement has already been breached by the protocol, that the status of Northern Ireland, economic and political, has changed without the agreement of the people of Northern Ireland, which was a requirement of the Belfast Agreement? And since there is this terrible trouble on the streets, which could continue again, would the Minister please encourage the European community to identify the real causes for the unrest in Northern Ireland?
Well, I'm happy to report that there has been calm, as the noble Lord will know, over the last few days, last 2 days, I should say, and particularly last night. But can I just say that the protocol was designed, as he will know, to protect the Belfast Good Friday Agreement, east-west as well as north-south, and the gains of the peace process prevent a hard border on the island of Ireland and safeguard Northern Ireland's place in the United Kingdom.
The next speaker is Lord Murphy of...
My Lords, when we negotiated the Good Friday Agreement 23 years ago, we knew then that the only way to success was through intensive dialogue and negotiation. And whilst I agree that the Secretary of State for Northern Ireland is doing his best to talk to the political parties in Belfast, isn't it now time, though, as Lady Ritchie has said, that the government meets the Irish government at prime ministerial level in what is known as the BIIGC, a specific body set up by the Good Friday Agreement to deal with matters like this one. Frankly, we need the spirit of the Good Friday Agreement now in these difficult times.
Well, indeed, I alluded, as the Noble Lord will know, to the BIGC earlier on in my answers. But the government is aware, very aware, of the ongoing concerns from some in the Unionist and Loyalist community over recent months. However, just to echo the words of the Noble Lord, the right way to express concerns or frustrations is through dialogue and engagement and the democratic process, and not through violence or disorder. And last week, the Secretary of State for Northern Ireland met, as I said earlier, with community, faith and political leaders. And also, can I reassure the Noble Lord that my right honourable friend in the other place is in regular touch with the Irish government.
The next speaker is Baroness Ludford.
My Lords, Brexit may not be the only cause of the disorder in Northern Ireland, but it is a catalyst. There have been encouraging press reports in recent days about the progress of technical talks on resolving outstanding issues in the operation of the Northern Ireland Protocol. Can the Noble Lord the Minister tell us a bit more about this, when these technical talks might move to a political phase and indeed result in an agreement to streamline checks and paperwork while respecting the law?
Indeed, I'm happy to give whatever information I can to help the Noble Baroness, because the UK government is committed to working rapidly with the EU through the Joint Committee to address the outstanding concerns about the protocol to restore confidence on the ground. And it is welcome that the UK and EU were able to use the Northern Ireland Specialised Committee as recently as the 26th of March to take stock of outstanding issues. So, following that, the UK government has provided a proposed work programme to the EU as the first step in working jointly to make progress across the full range of issues that remain. But it's urgent, my Lords, as the Noble Baroness will tell me.
The next speaker is Lord Moylan.
My Lords, the human rights flaw at the heart of the Northern Ireland Protocol is that out with the Good Friday Agreement, it means that binding law and regulation can be amended in a foreign state, that is the EU, and then have direct effect in Northern Ireland without any democratic say by the people there. Would my noble friend agree that a first step to addressing this would be to change the protocol so that all binding law and regulation in Northern Ireland is made in a democratic forum where Northern Ireland electors are represented, that is, in this Parliament or in the Northern Ireland Assembly if a devolved matter, thus strengthening the Good Friday Agreement in spirit and in action?
Well, in answer to the question from my noble friend, all sides need to continue to work together to ensure that the protocol can deliver these objectives and ensure that Northern Ireland continues to build on the gains of the peace process. And we need to create the conditions which allow people and businesses to adapt to and to implement the new requirements of the protocol. But ultimately, the protocol's fate depends on the political representatives of the people of Northern Ireland. The Stormont Assembly will vote on the protocol in 2024, as agreed in the protocol itself.
I'd call the next speaker, Lord Eames.
My Lords, Baroness Ritchie has emphasised the widespread anxiety throughout Northern Ireland at the recent events on our streets. Lord Murphy has endorsed that emphasis. But would the noble Lord the Minister agree with me that all parties must take the utmost care in the use of language at the present time, language which can so easily be used as an excuse for violence? We must use every means possible to prevent us drifting back to the dark days of the Troubles. And would he agree with me that we need to emphasize care in what we say?
Notwithstanding some barking in the background, it was a serious question, and can I say that the noble lord is absolutely right, as well as the work that my right honourable friend in the other place is doing in working with community leaders. He is right that measured language is very important, because we do not want to see again these disgraceful scenes and the reckless and dangerous criminal behaviour on the streets. And of course, this week's events do not reflect the true spirit of Northern Ireland, the creativity there, the optimism and the determination to never return to the conflict and division of the past.
I'd call the next speaker Lord Dubbs.
My Lords, does the Minister agree that at least some people in Northern Ireland believe that the British government is not as interested in what's going on there as previous British governments used to be? Furthermore, my Lords, does regret the government made repeated statements that the protocol not impose any constraint. The government has to think harder about how we treat the people of Northern Ireland.
Can't quite hear you.
Honestly and properly.
I'm afraid I think we missed the point from the Liberal Lord Dubbs because of a connection problem, so I suggest we move on to the next speaker on the list with apologies to him.
I'm sure the Minister will agree to write to Lord Dubbs in response to the question. I'm going to call the next speaker Baroness Hoey.
No one in government should underestimate the frustration, the disappointment and even the anger across Northern Ireland at the protocol. But it is not the only reason for the recent violence which we all condemn. There is an underlying feeling that the East-West relations of the Belfast Agreement have been disregarded and the North-South been given more importance. When will Her Majesty's government stop this neutral position that they seem to adopt, like the Irish government who speak up for Irish nationalism? When will the United Kingdom government start speaking up for the British Union?
Well, we have been doing just this. The union is very important, and we've said again and again that it's very important to say, which is true, is that the Northern Ireland is a firm part of the United Kingdom. But in terms of her question relating to East-West, I suspect she's relating to the challenges, the current challenges, and the details that need to be sorted out as a result of Brexit. And can I say that much work is being done to ensure that food supplies, parcel deliveries, etc. are being delivered to Northern Ireland from Great Britain, and that supermarket shelves are full, as they should be.
My Lords, the time allowed for this question has now elapsed. My apologies to Lord Hayne and